About 20 miles down this dirt road is a 1946 K5 International Fairbanks city bus. And that may sound unremarkable to you until you realize that that bus became the salvation and doom for a young man by the name of Chris McCandless. Now, that name may sound familiar to you because John Krakauer wrote a book about Chris called Into the Wild. And it's about a man who, trying to find himself, ends up finding something very special, but in the process ends up finding his doom down that road. And coming up next, we're going to take the Jeep Wrangler into the wild in search of that 1946 K5 International, the Magic Bus. A sort of vagabond, a modern day tramp, giving up all the modern comforts that we in this very modern and technologically savvy world now crave. So he gave up contact with his family, he gave up eventually his car, he eventually burned all his money, and he really lived both off the land and off the kindness of other people. And if you watch the movie Into the Wild or read the book Into the Wild, you'll know that his story touched a chord in America. McCandless was a man a little bit older than you. He was actually done with college, and he decided that instead of getting a job like many people his age would do, he would go explore America. And he wasn't afraid. He wasn't afraid to abandon his car, burn his money, and just set off by himself into the wild. Now, why he did that is debatable, but it could have something to do with the fact that his father had two families. Eventually, he ended up going or hiking in down the Stampede Trail, which is what we're on.
Right.
And hiking in about 20 miles west of Healy, Alaska, where he found what is now known as a Magic Bus. It's a bus that was towed in there by a mining company. Actually, it's one of 3 buses that was towed into the wilderness by a mining company and left and abandoned there. And I think his journal reflects that when he first found the bus, he found happiness.
Right.
So he found what he was looking for. He found peace. He was able to live off the land. He killed a moose, and he didn't have the skill set to basically process it, to use it, to dry it, to make it into moose jerky so that he could live off of it. And he was slowly starving to death, and then he found this root that he started eating, but there was a fungus on top of the root that prevents the human body from basically absorbing nutrients. And so he slowly started to starve, and then when he decided that he needed to get back to civilization, the river had swollen, and he was unable to cross the river, and eventually he ended up starving to death at the site of this, what is now called the Magic Bus. Now this trail that goes there is a dirt road, but it gets really difficult. It gets muddy, it gets very, very worn out, washed out, and just a really rough ride. So we're gonna see how the Wrangler does following in the footsteps of Chris McCandless. And hopefully, we'll show you the magic bus before all is said and done in this video. You know those Jeeps we just passed, the tour guide Jeeps? Those were basic sport models that were 2 doors, right? And I think in off-road terms, if you're really kind of comparing apples to apples, we probably have much better suspension because we have a Ruby. We have better approach angle because we've got the Hard Rock with the special off-road bumpers, which we can actually even customize to make it more off-road worthy by taking off the ends. But they have better breakover angles because they're much shorter.
Yeah, but I don't think it matters when they have street tires and we have mud terrains.
Yeah, once again, it's all about where the tire hits the dirt in this case, and the mud terrains, you know, they just eat it up, man. They just dig in and don't let go. This is where the other Jeeps came to. It's really where the end of the road lies for us, because this way, well, this way is the Teklanika River. And that's the river that Chris couldn't cross because it was just too fast moving and too wide. The problem for us isn't the river. It's the fact that the Stampede trail, which keeps going a little bit, ends up in a bunch of beaver dams. And as capable as this Jeep Wrangler is, it's not capable enough to cross a beaver dam. We would need an amphicar for that. Or you can use one of these little amphibious 6-wheel drive all-terrain vehicles. That's what they actually use to get through the beaver ponds and beyond. Let's make some splashes.
Okay.
Why not? Just one for the heck of it, huh? Look at that. Oh my god. It's like being in a Disney ride, except you don't get muddy. Oh, yes, yes! But I think I made you a promise, and I think I know how to fulfill that promise, because I promised you the magic bus, and I think I can show it to you. This Fairbanks City Transit bus is identical to the bus that Chris spent his last days in. In fact, the mining company towed out 3 of these buses, and this one happens to be the stunt bus that was used for the movie Into the Wild. They brought it out and they recreated Chris's bus that's still in the wild, and now its home is here at a local brewery just outside of Healy, Alaska. So, it's not the bus, but it's about as close as we can get. Let's take a look inside. In a bus identical to this one, Chris's journey came to an end. He wrote, "SOS, I need your help. I am injured, near death, and too weak to hike out of here. I am all alone. This is no joke." And unfortunately, Chris's life ended. But his story continues to inspire millions of people around the world. Because sometimes a life that's lived to the fullest, outside of the bounds of normal civilization, is a life that inspires. And I hope that you have been inspired a little bit by our journey into the wild. And thank you for watching, and as always, check out tflcar.com for more news, views, and of course, off-road adventure reviews. As a postscript, the locals here in Healy have a mixed relationship with the bus. Not this one, but the one that's about 25 miles from here. They love the fact that it brings their town visitors and notoriety, but they hate the fact that people try to go out there every day and get stuck and need to be rescued. It's really that hard to get out there. If you like this video, do me a favor, just click below and subscribe, or click on me and we'll show you some more off-road reviews.